Hello, hello out there.
Hello.
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 I'm back with Ray and Gina, and we're gonna talk Mando in a hot second. But first, some stuff happened yesterday.
Only a little bit.
There were some things
Just
which
a tiny bit.
we haven't gotten to on this channel yet, but we will. It just, Thursday nights are a weird night to announce things.
Yeah.
But okay.
Especially when people are at work.
Yeah, people have to do. Well, according to Bob, none of us have anywhere else to be. That was my favorite part, really, of that whole stream, was just everybody on the timeline yelling at Bob.
That is hilarious. For a sec, because I wasn't actually participating in the call. I just got everyone's tweets about it. And so for a second when you were like Bob, I was like, is this a placeholder for a random man? But then I remembered Bob Iger's a person. I was like, never mind. It's a really important man.
So let's real quick. I know you're both mad at me because I said top 3 and I'm limiting you to 3. But if we had to pick top 3 things from yesterday we're most excited about. Ray, I already know what your top 1 is, so let's start with you.
Well, if anyone knows me, I love Hayden Christensen. Full on teen crush, blossom into just love his work, everything he's done. And I totally appreciate him needing to step away and doing his own thing and living the farm life, in Canada.
Yep.
But I was at work last night and I got home, got, food or whatever. It's 10:30. I finally look at my messages from Jess and then my podcast partner, Christy. And then, it's this long list of everything that's, was announced. Yep. And all I see is Hayden. And I just freak out.
Yep.
Start crying. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. And not even the fact that he's just coming back, but he's coming back as Darth Vader.
Yup.
That's the thing that I was like, oh my God, what are they going to do? Is it going to be because we always talked about in the Kenobi series that it'll be flashbacks or whatever. And
right.
Okay, that makes sense. But now that they said Darth Vader, is it he's going to be in the suit sometimes and then he'll play Anakin in flashbacks? Or is it this weird thing where Obi-Wan's hallucinating and doing force visions and it's an alternate universe where something happened and
right.
Anakin didn't get burned alive on Mustafar. So I don't know. So we'll see. I'm just very excited about that. Keeping this short for Jess's sake. And then I would say the 2 other things, just there's so much out there, but I was really excited to see that they're doing anime with Force Visions. The Visions series, that, I'm really, because I love just visions in the Force and what the implication of those are. So I'm really excited about that and what they're gonna do with that. And then the third thing, I would say, as much as I'm excited for the Andor series, I'm very intrigued by the Acolyte.
Yes,
because it's gonna be dark side, that kind of stuff, and we get some of that, the Acolyte kind of stuff in one of the Aftermath books by Chuck Wendig, so I'm excited to see if they're going to pull from that or if it's going to be completely new people and characters and stuff. So those are my 3.
Awesome. How about you, Gina?
Okay, so I'm also going to keep it short for Jess's sake. I'm also intrigued by the Acolyte, and now I feel like I should officially start reading more other material and things, especially because I didn't know that, Ray. So I guess I'm finally going to read some books and read some comics.
I have some book clubs for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I am super excited for Kenobi. I was excited already in the past. I'm not no one is as big as a fangirl or a stan as Ray, but when we got Hayden's name, I was like, woo, let's go. I'm super excited for this.
Yep.
And then it's not Gina if I don't not talk about Star Wars and I bring up Marvel, because as soon as we started getting all this information, I was like, oh, for real? We're actually showing stuff?
Yeah.
Where's Loki? Right. And then I got him and I died. You're talking to a ghost. So those are my
Such
top
a good
2.
trailer.
Oh,
Yes.
so good. So many
That was
things.
such a good trailer. That's probably my favorite trailer.
Yeah.
Low-key.
Yes.
But
There's a
anyway.
lot of good stuff. Real quick in the chat, I see Stuart and John. I should have said hi earlier to both of you. Welcome. We have Dom and Zolan. Welcome everybody. All right, so for my top
Hello.
3, I'll keep
So
it.
Jess, you?
Yeah, I'll keep it to. Oh, and hey, Mr. Rez, I'll keep it to Star Wars because if I start talking about the Secret Invasion show, that will be all this stream is. But my top 3 were Hayden being back for sure, because for me it's just seeing him welcomed back into the fan community. I really like
I know.
this new trend of like, hey, here's all these people we treated like garbage for a long time, and like, no, we're gonna like bring you back and hug you, and I'm just really happy for that. Like whatever happens, because like story wise, I'm a little apprehensive, but I don't care because I want Hayden to come back.
Yeah, I get that.
Second thing is Lando. I've wanted a Lando spinoff for a while, and they haven't said if it's going to be Billy D or Donald.
Right.
I'm hoping for both to some capacity, but like
that'd be awesome.
I've said, it would be one of the greatest tragedies in cinema if Donald Glover is just never Lando again.
That's true.
So I wanted that so badly. And then for me, it's also the Acolyte, because I'm all about that High Republic stuff. And the notion that this is going to connect to High Republic was just so cool.
I totally forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah. Well, there's so much.
Oh,
like, people say stuff, and I'm like, that's right, that too.
Honestly, I've thought about the Lando series like 5 times already today, and I still forgot until you just said something. And then I was like, oh yeah, we're also getting this.
So there's just so
just
much.
an aside. Right, the Lando series, I agree. I would love to have it be Billy D as old Lando, like reminiscing, or like doing the Calrissian Chronicles, and then it's young Lando, like it's Donald Glover doing the thing. So we'll see, though. We'll see what they do.
I think that might be perfection. Like, I don't think they could get better than putting both of them in the show somehow. The way I need that show. But like, it was all good. Like, I don't think there was one Star Wars announcement I was unexcited about. And like, obviously there's so much more, but this is a Mando stream, so I was like, all right, guys.
Right. I was gonna add something else, and I'm like, no, it's a Mando stream. We need to move on.
But I promise we will do a more full discussion on all of that once I think we've all had time to process.
Process.
Yes.
But so Mando, in the event you joined this to listen to some thoughts on the announcements, this is your get out now cause spoilers. Like, heads up. So get out now cause spoilers. But this episode,
get out.
Get out. Leave. Heathens. We do not allow you here. I got one of my favorite lines in the whole episode was like, I don't know how you people do this, and by you people I do mean Mandalorian.
Oh, I love that actor. I forget his name every time, but
Bill
that
Burr.
was such a good delivery. That was such a good delivery. I laughed so hard.
He was just trolling so hard. He was just, I'm going to get to this man.
And it's such a one-sided conversation because Mando's just sitting there, like, sitting there, just looking straight ahead, not even paying attention, not giving him the time of day, and he's just like, I'm just gonna keep talking. I don't care.
I'm gonna talk until you make me shut up. So I think this is one of the best, if not the best episode of the series, but it's also a 0 out of 10 because no Grogu.
I knew you were gonna say that. This is my favorite episode out of the entire series. Why would you say this to me?
No Grogu.
No, I just love. It's like awesome. Great directing, great writing, whatever. Jess is like
0 out of 10. No Grogu. Worst episode.
This I know So this whole time we've been doing these streams,
Yep.
I have been like only like 75% serious, 25% joking.
Yep.
That they went to the future, they saw our streams, they were like, this stuff is for us. I'm so serious. I'm 100% serious when I tell you that Jon Favreau and Rick went to the future and we're like, we're gonna give Gina everything that she wants.
I'm so excited for you to talk.
This was made for me. I legit cried.
Yeah.
I cried. I like tears were coming down. I was at work and I was like, please don't let anyone look at me because I was crying the whole time.
Take us through the moment, Gina. Take us through your journey on this episode. I'm gonna make you bigger than the rest of us. There we go. Gina, take us through.
Spotlight, let's go.
Okay, so real quick, I have to say that I woke up late because I attempt to watch it before work. So I woke up late and I was like, well, I guess I'm watching it at work now. So I brought my little trusty iPad and I was like, let's go. And so I'm watching this episode. Didn't expect to like have too many feelings about it because Mayfeld didn't like grab me in the first season. He was all right. I'm watching it. It's, it's fine. I get to that moment. I get to the moment in my cubicle. I'm watching this and I start crying. And I just think, this is so beautiful. They're giving me Pedro's face. This is everything that I've ever wanted. We've got conflicted. This is okay. It can still work out. I rewatched it. I'm not joking, like 20 times. So I saw them scan his face like 20 times. And then I keep watching. And like the one guy whose name I've forgotten, he shows up. And when he turns his face to see him, my tears turn from happy to sad. And I just think, no, someone has seen your face. And all of a sudden I'm like, this is disrespectful. Gina, you need to stop watching this episode. No one's supposed to see his face. And I'm just like full on sobbing at my cubicle. And then Mayfeld shows up and I'm just like, oh my, I almost broke your streaming rule, Jess. Sorry. I'm keeping it in because I'm emotional. I'm about to start crying. And then everyone's just seeing his face and he's all anxious at the table. And I was like, give Pedro the Emmy right now. Give it to him right now. And I just want to be held by this man, but I also want to hold this man. And the whole time I'm just an emotional mess. And then we finally get to the end and he's just like, I never saw your face. And I was like, I love you. Oh my goodness. I'm about to cry thinking about it. That's just a glimpse into my mind.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Had you up in
and then I texted Jess like a bunch of like all caps multiple times. I was like, Jess. Jess.
And I'm at work like, uh-oh. so much, so good. Oh, because like I didn't think we were gonna see his face this soon. I assumed it was gonna be like a him and Grogu moment. But then, like, they were playing with it so much in the episode because he's like, oh, he's got to wear the thing. And, like, one of my favorite lines is from Mayfeld, and it's so is it that you can't show your face or is it that you have to wear the mask? Because that's a different question. I wanted to talk about that question with you guys. And then, and then we get to him having to take it off. And I was like, oh, my God. It was, because even when they're struggling on the Juggernaut, okay, sorry. I literally texted Django in all caps, Juggernaut. Oh gosh, but I could break my own stream rule by referencing X-Men 3, but which is a movie I'll defend, but not here. But I was so
we'll save it for another time.
Save it for another time. If any of you out there have Marvel podcasts, let us on. But what do you guys think of that question? The you can't show your face or you have to wear the helmet. Easy.
I want to let Ray go first since I just talked a bunch.
So on face value, I take that to mean, is it
sorry.
Is it trying to form my words here? Is it more important for this Mandalorian part of the culture, like this group, that to have the face of the Mandalorian be like the helmet, that's all people see. That's where it's like, that's where the question of the helmet comes into play.
Yeah.
Or is it more so that you have to hide your face because you can't be an individual
Mm-hmm.
in the sense? I guess that's how I took that, and it is a valid question
It is a valid question.
that Mayfeld posed to Mando, because it's like, is it more important to have the mask on so that people just see you as a Mandalorian? Is it more important to, like, is the goal to have that be the thing, or is it to hide your face? Like, I don't know.
Real quick,
It's
I'm about to
complex.
click a button, and if I break the stream by clicking this button, I apologize.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I didn't break the stream. We're fine. I had to reload my control center for the stream, and I'm like, I don't know if that will stop it. If I do, it didn't. Okay, sorry.
Right.
Okay. Hopefully everybody's still out there.
Hopefully we're all
Yes.
still here.
Yes, we are still here.
No, I think that's the point too, because I feel like with the strong connection to the armor, I think it really is more that you have to wear that helmet than that you can't show your face, because of the spiritual tie to the armor, even though the armor doesn't expressly say it. But I feel like that's almost you seem to change the rules when you get desperate thing that Mayfeld was talking about. It's like, okay, you're changing the rules because you're desperate to go. You know you have to go with him. And so you're like, this is your cheat way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I also found it
go ahead.
I also found it interesting that one, so many pirates.
Yes.
There were so many.
So many. There's more.
Two. They just kept coming. Two, Mando gets his butt beat. Like, he gets, like, when he crawls back into the Juggernaut with Mayfeld, he's like groaning in pain, and like, we don't really see him like that because the Beskar is very
protective.
It's reliable, not versus some stormtrooper armor, which is not that reliable. So I thought that was interesting, because I think that is kind of like lends to the idea. It's like that armor is very important in many different ways. So anyway, that was just an aside I had to put in there.
No, yeah, that's good. I was going to say, I think the whole first season, I thought it was just, you can't show your face.
Yeah.
And then I think because of all the things, especially with like meeting Boba Fett and like Bo-Katan and things like that, this season is where I started thinking, oh, it's something like truly, truly about the armor and super important, which is with his conversations with Mayfeld and stuff, they were totally leading us to this moment. Because I was guessing a couple times, I was like, are we going to see your face? Because we keep having these conversations.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was going to be as like dramatic or drastic as we got. But because they kept asking, I was like, oh, look at you. But then I was like, but for your son, you're choosing to do this for your son. And that's why I'm just like, I'm crying because I see it, but also for your kid. Yay.
I love it.
And I also have to... Oh.
Go ahead.
Are we okay? Okay.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I love how they... Like, we've always referenced him as the child, the kid. And we get his name Grogu. This episode, it's your kid. To Mando. And I was just like, oh, he's a daddy.
he's got to admit that he's a dad. Real quick, Gina, based off of our theories in the past, at one point Mayfeld calls Grogu your little green friend, which is exactly what Palpatine calls Yoda in Revenge of the Sith. So is this more confirmation that we are all clones of Palpatine?
We are all clones of Palpatine indeed. Oh my goodness. What we need to do is, Ray, we need to get you on as a creative consultant or producer of our dumpster fire edition of Tross. You are gonna love
You're gonna love it. We have so many good ideas. Our version of Tross is the best.
Everyone's gonna say that Tross is the best Star Wars movie. Like everyone. It has something for everyone.
Including just everyone is a clone of Palpatine.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get in a writer's room. You guys pitch it to me, and I'm just like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Not to like reveal the skit, but that would actually be really funny if it's you and me pitching it to Ray, who's just like,
Holy shit.
okay, but anyway, serious conversation. No, with that, what you were saying too, with the fights with all the pirates, I think one of my favorite parts was he's just sitting there like, and then Mayfeld slows down. He's like, all right, he's slowing down. I gotta get up.
Well, it's just, I don't know. That was just impressive.
It was
impressive. Fight scene one, just story-wise, because so many pirates, and he's fighting a hand-to-hand combat on a moving truck. Worrying about thermal detonators, and like that one point where they attach the thermal detonator, and Amanda's just like, all right, grabs it, and he's like, hey, it's gonna blow up, and he throws it. Like, that was awesome. And two, from a directing standpoint, amazing. Like, just the shots they did, the tension, the tightness of the scene, and like, you're like, oh my god, is it really gonna blow up? In the back of your mind, you know that's not gonna happen, but at the same time, you're like, you know, so.
Also, I wouldn't be myself if I didn't go on a tangent and also point out the cinematic parallels between that scene and one, James Bond. I guess there's a spoilers, but James Bond at the beginning of Skyfall when he's fighting on the train or whatever.
True.
And also a Mad Max Fury Road when they're fighting on the war rig.
Also
That's
true.
all I was thinking of.
And we're back.
Connecting it all together.
Full circle.
It's
Full
like
circle.
That is Gina's goal every stream, to relate it back to Mad Max Fury Road.
Everything goes back to the Fury Road.
Everything.
Right. Jumping off of that, though, talking about cinematic masterpieces.
Yes.
I need to point out. So I told Jess I freaked out during two moments. The one moment was when he had to take his helmet off, and we see his face and how vulnerable and just impactful that was. And the second scene was when the ties are going after Slave 2, and Boba releases a seismic charge, and I was just yes! It was so good, and I was like, all my Attack of the Clone peeps were all so happy.
That is
to hear that
my favorite sound effect
again.
in Star Wars. Is the seismic
Yes.
charge. I was like,
yes.
I just can't. I was because I saw it and I'm like, that's a seismic charge, and then I held my breath.
Like,
there are 3 moments in Star Wars you have to hear your breath, or you have to hold your breath so you can hear it. And one's the seismic charge. The other is when Darth Vader takes his first breath in the mask, and the third is the Holdo maneuver. And those are the 3 moments where you must be silent in reverence during Star Wars.
That is so beautiful. You're so right.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
The silent trinity of Star Wars.
The silent
trinity. Everyone, I hope everyone was ready for the amount of gold that they were going to get from this stream today.
People should be ready. That's what we bring every time. John says Boba used it more effectively than Jango did, if only because Boba actually destroyed his targets. Well, if Jango were here, my Jango were here, he would have a bone to pick about that. I mean, the son learns from the father, right? Like, he's improving.
Like my father before me. But speaking of sounds, I could listen to Tamira Morrison's Boba all damn day.
Yeah.
It's so good. Oh, just listening to him talk, and I'm just like, oh, I love you. I watch you in more stuff.
I'm just so happy. And like anytime he just like makes a weird face, I'm just like, yes, please.
Which, I mean, that was the thing I asked the question about earlier. I was like, how are all these dynamics going to work? Am I still going to get like good screen time with the people I want, good lines? And then they gave it to me. I was like, expertly used. Thank you.
What was funny is John, if you're listening, turn this part off. The whole episode, I was like, man, this episode is so tight. Like, thinking about my critiques from last week, I'm like, this episode is so tight. Everything's working well. The dialogue's solid. Everything makes sense. There's like no weird plot conveniences, and then we get to the credits and it says Rick wrote it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Everything made sense.
I understand.
Yeah. Let Rick make more Star Wars.
No shade, because like I love the show, but Rick, just saying.
Right. No, as much as I loved last week's episode, the criticisms are valid. They're valid, and sometimes John is not always the best writer. Sometimes he is. Sometimes it works perfectly, but sometimes
written some great stuff, and
Yeah.
Right.
And in fairness, I'm pretty sure last week they were just like, are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure last week the script was effectively they go to Tython, let Rodriguez go for like 25 minutes, Grogu gets kidnapped, and I'm pretty sure that was the script last week, which is valid. That's a valid script. So,
especially if they want to give creative license to the person directing.
For sure. But I mean, like, I'm not going to complain that I basically got a 20-minute action sequence by Rodriguez.
Right.
What I kind of want to do after we're done with season 2 is, because obviously, like, like Dave and John are good at their jobs, but I want to go back and see like which in both season 1 and season 2, see who directed and who wrote each episode.
Yeah.
And then just think about like the emotional or action beats that made them get chosen for that moment. Because not that anyone would do like this is not a you did a worse job, you did a better job.
Right.
But I just think about the fact that like we had all this action, all these great things, but then we got the really emotional moment of Dan taking off his helmet. And they gave that to Rick. Right. And they gave that to Rick for a reason. And so I'm just like, this is all, I think it's all fascinating how they choose who gets what. I think the only super obvious one is that Dave gets Ahsoka.
Yeah. It's like, oh, there you go. That's why.
Right.
To that point where you're talking about with Rick getting this moment, the one point, there was only one point in the episode where my heart, other than just missing Grogu, was like, I don't know how I feel about where this is going. And then I came back by the end. But it was like, are they really going to have like his face reveal moment with Mayfield? Like, it felt so insignificant. Yeah. And then you get to the scene where they're all having a drink with the officer, and Mayfield's talking about Operation Cinder, which I freaked out about.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like, oh, these are like two enemies basically. That had like the deepest, darkest, most vulnerable part of their souls poured out on a card table.
Right.
Yeah.
And like then it made sense. And I thought that was a really interesting choice. I
didn't know who Bill Burr was until we met him in the last season. So this is like these are the only things I've ever seen him do. And so I mean, he's great in the first season, whatever. But when we got to, because I was also wondering about that, like have this moment with him. In fact, I saw a tweet that was like the fact it was with Mayfeld first and not Grogu. And I was like, well, that's a thing.
Yeah.
But then as he's talking about like all of this hurt and pain and trauma and his face changes, I was like, oh, this man is doing some acting. Because I just thought he was like a comedian who also acts. But I was like, no, this man's whole face is falling. I'm into this. And then, so yeah, I'm completely on board with you.
And Ray, I know you and I have had. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say you and I have had conversations in the past about different, like how a lot of times people think like a intense form of intimacy has to be something like a kiss or something like that. But like this, in a not necessarily in a romantic way, but it felt like this intense moment of forced intimacy between these two characters.
Right. I totally agree. And for a character like Mayfeld, when we meet him, we're like, oh, he's just the run-of-the-mill bounty hunter type, betrays the people, like, But then in this episode alone, the amount of character development for Mayfeld alone in this episode, I was like, I am eating this up. This is so well done. And, because he's a prisoner, he's working at this place, and he's like, obviously it's droids. You can tell he's sick of it, obviously I would be sick of it too if I was a prisoner working in a place like that. And, we get him, he's kind of like poking at Mando. He's trying to like kind of get to him a little bit, you know. And then we get to that part where he's like, he sees his old officer or whatever, and he's like, I can't go. And then he sees Mando, who's like, he's gonna do anything for this kid.
Yeah.
His kid.
Yeah.
And he does it. And it's like, he steps up. Mayfeld steps up and is like, he just does the thing. And like, you know, he shows the vulnerable side of himself because Mando did.
Yep.
And like, I just loved it. It was so well done, so well acted. And I think sometimes with people who are known for comedy, I think a lot of people discount their acting ability, but usually the people who make people laugh or are comedians tend to be also the people who've had the really dark moments in their life.
Yeah.
And I think we see that come to fruition here. And it was very well done. And like, even just Pedro, like, his facial expressions.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, I was like Gina, I was getting really like emotional, and I was just like, I didn't want him to take off his helmet. I was like, don't do it, man.
Yep.
No. And then he has to. And then I love how he calls him brown eyes.
Yes.
I had to laugh at that because I was like, it was so good.
The hard of hearing thing was
like,
great.
They do the whole thing. I was like, okay, all right.
He's like,
but yeah,
he can't hear you.
Anyway,
It was
but
so good.
yeah, like this, I agree. Like the intimacy thing, it does not need to be romantic or a kiss or whatever. It can be a moment between two people who aren't even friends.
Yep.
That are put in a situation where they have to find a way out of it, and to see Mayfeld kind of come to terms with, you know, being an Imperial and like Operation Cinder and like the whole conversation about, you know, what did these people die for?
Right.
And the guy's like, you know, for the glory of the Empire. And it's like, no, screw you.
Yeah.
These people died for nothing.
Yep.
You know, so sorry, I had a
long...
Oh
no, that's good. That's good. It was a good thing. That makes me think of, so the title was The Believer.
Yeah.
I do want to share one bit, because Django could not be with us. When I finished the episode, he texted me, and then I saw his face, and now I'm a believer.
That's so funny.
I wish he could have been here to deliver that for all of you.
He probably laughed to himself thinking of it. So my question to you two is, who do you believe that's referencing?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I think it is one of those things that's in reference to multiple people.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put that on Mayfeld and Din.
Yep.
But mostly our Mandalorian. Just because he's lived his whole life believing something specific about Mandalorians, and we've seen him changing, or not at least changing his mind, but learning more so that he could change his mind. And obviously he's made concessions, especially in this episode. So him believing in this person who he's not friends with, him believing in his creed, him believing in himself, him believing in Grogu, all these things. I think that's like the main one, probably.
Yeah. I believe too. I agree that it is probably in reference in some way to both of them. I mean, we kind of see that in the Ahsoka episode. The Jedi could have referred to Grogu as much as it referred to Ahsoka.
Right.
There's certain ones like the Marshal was Cobb. Like that didn't really have more than one, but a lot of them have the dual reference. I agree with everything you had to say about Din. I think for me, I kind of lean more towards it being Mayfeld than Din, just because, like, and this is a really stupid, I just am way too by the numbers reason, and not anything else. It's just like, it's already called The Mandalorian, so I think the title should be about a different character.
No, I feel
like, that is not based off of any real analysis at all. This is why I don't get I shouldn't say, it's not that I don't get, this is why I don't understand a lot of Star Wars Twitter, because this is how my brain works. I'm like, It's already the Mandalorian, so this has to be me.
No, yeah.
Well,
No, yeah.
And we just, as Star Wars fans, we're always looking for symbolism, even if it's not actually there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, no, we just did it that way for no reason.
Which actually, I think that's why this stream is super interesting to me, because I get you can be friends with people with like different opinions who read stuff differently than you, but I feel like the three of us, for the most part, actually think about Star Wars in the same way.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why this is also super exciting for me.
It's fun. I think we got a good group going. We have not managed to get all four of us on, but we've all existed in like different combinations.
We've all existed.
We all exist.
That's good to know.
We're
not
not
in a simulation. Okay, thanks for confirming that, Jess.
I mean, suddenly we all wake up and we're like in tubes of like, and we're like by Snoke's, floating Snoke's, because we're all clones of Palpatine.
And we don't have fingers. We're like, no.
And we're back.
We got deep for a second, and then we just had to bring it back to good old Frank.
We gotta add some levity here.
Yeah.
So I love that we get more Fennec as well.
Yes. Oh, man, I've
only
all of that. Sorry.
I'm bringing her up for a reason.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've only watched the Bad Batch trailer once.
But
she's in there, right?
It's got to be her. It's
her.
So, here's the thing. So, Chrissy and I talked about it, and she also believes she's in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, this whole like obligation to Boba. What if she like worked at the Bad Batch?
Oh.
And she like sees the face, and she's like,
that would
think about
that would fix a lot of my issues.
Right,
with last week.
Right, because a lot of people are like, why is she so obligated to Boba?
Yeah.
Because she knows the
I would be so down with that.
Yeah, I would be too.
So we'll see if that happens, because it does look like her in the trailer.
It does look
which
like
I would
her.
love if I always forget names.
Ming-Na Wen?
Plays Fennec. If she voices her, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I hope so.
But so I'm throwing that out in the ether. We'll see if I'm right.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Future John.
So
Future
watching
John.
This live stream.
Future Dave.
This is what's happening. We're writing this for you.
So,
just pay us.
Right. It just gives a little bit more emotional depth to that.
That would be amazing.
Relationship. That probably can't be explored as much in The Mandalorian just because there isn't time.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I want to know too, because the timeline last week where Boba was like, "This has been in my family for," that's not his accent, but I can't do his accent. So this has been in my family for 25 years. And it belonged to Jango Fett, who was my dad.
I just took a drink, Jess. Why would you do? There's actually tea in here this time. Why would you do that?
This is my Boba Fett impression. Do you like it? Anyway, so I can do a southern accent because Jango's not here. But 25 years doesn't go back to Attack of the Clones, right? Or am I crazy? Because Attack of the Clones there's 3 years between Attack of the Clones and Revenge, and then 19, and then 1, and then 5, and then 5. Or 1 and then 4, whatever. It's more than 25 between when Jango dies and is what I'm saying. So like, how is Jango's chain code in that armor 25 years ago? And like, my wonder is if the Clone Wars arc of Boba getting the armor and like hanging out with Cad Bane is going to become a Bad Batch arc. So that's where the timeline's going to be different, and maybe she meets Boba in Bad Batch.
I like that too.
I like this. Yeah, I like this idea.
All right.
Because I said it, it might be canon, but it won't happen because I said it. I can only call Star Wars when J.J. Abrams makes it. I can't call it for anybody else.
Anybody else?
I share JJ and I share one brain cell.
One brain cell.
We share one brain cell.
That's so funny.
No, that's also accurate. It could be that too.
It could be. I would be totally down with that. But I mean, it would still tie into her knowing Bad Batch. But I think that could also
it'd be the emotional depth. So.
Yeah, I think they could take that arc. Sorry, I was just gonna say they could just take that arc and change the year.
I love your excitement.
Right.
I was gonna say I have, and sorry if you already talked about it when my internet was terrible. But I have two other things that I thought was super interesting.
Okay.
And the first one was when the Ties came and shot the pirates or whatever,
Yes.
and he was like, "Woo," and I was like, "What is this Han Solo woo happening?" And isn't it weird that we're like cheering for and happy about the Empire? I was like, I like this as someone who like low-key likes the Empire and as someone who's got a tie tattooed on her, but also not the terrible parts of the Empire, but it was really strange to be like, yay, that the bad guys are doing something. I was like, this is a weird, and the music felt triumphant.
Yeah.
And I was like, and especially when they were having their drinks and they were talking and they were like, you got your transport in, it's going to do all these terrible things. And I was like, I was just cheering for this a hot second ago. How weird is this feeling?
Oh, no, I like that. And when they're all like patting everybody on the back and
here's the thing. So I have brothers who are in the military. So a scene like that reads to me as these brothers and sisters in arms who are happy to see that one, their mission is a success. So bar none, what they're doing to the planet, doing to the locals, that's terrible. I understand, I'm recognizing that. But when you're in a situation like that, when you're working towards a goal as a unit and you find like how many juggernauts did they have that got destroyed, I wonder?
I think.
And they finally get one through.
Yeah, because I noticed the second time I watched the episode, there was wreckage in the village of a juggernaut.
Yeah.
I didn't see that till my second time through.
Right. So they finally get it through, and they don't see more of their brothers and sisters in arms die.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Right. Whatever the consensus is among the infantry, the lower military class, and for the Imperials there, whatever they believe, if they believe in what the Imperials are doing, or if they're just like, I'm just trying to keep the person next to me alive.
Yeah.
So like that's how that read to me. And granted, I think we're supposed to be like, okay, Din and Mayfeld got through, yay.
Yep.
But I agree with you, Gina, where it's kind of like, ugh, you feel a little skeezy.
It's weird for the audience, I think, because I think you're right. I'm cheering for Din and Mayfeld making it, but also I'm low key cheering because some Ties showed up, and that's weird.
I think to go off of what Ray was saying too, I think that it can then connect to the Operation Cinder story we heard, because Mayfeld's motivation really for leaving the Empire was we had to attack our own people, and you see that even within the Empire, and we don't always see that, but maybe in like the Star Destroyer level or like the high ranking exclusive postings, they're a little bit more mean and competitive, but like this kind of grunt level Imperial base, they're like, no, we're all stuck here together and we're gonna celebrate that something happened.
Yeah.
Something good happened in a sense,
What was your...
then, like, when you...
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, like, with Mayfeld, when he's explaining what happened with Operation Cinder, it's like, when you look at the Empire versus the Rebels, would the Rebels do something like that? Just destroy their own base like that? Probably not. But the Empire, it's like, it's for the greater good. It's for the goal we're all trying to get, that's what your life means. And then what Mayfeld's saying is like, no, it doesn't mean anything. They gave the lives for nothing.
Right.
So, anyway.
Gina, did you say you had two things?
Oh, I did. Okay, so not only did Pedro give me vulnerable and fluff and emotional earlier, and the angst. Then he gave me scary at the end.
Yes.
When he sent that message, and I was like,
oh yeah.
Oh yes.
And that's back to just
This
Din being Din,
man
where I'm like,
scares me.
why are you sending
it.
him a message? Why are you announcing that you're coming?
Why are you announcing it? I know. It's for dramatic effect, Jess. You wouldn't really do that in real life.
Gina froze.
No.
Gina unfreeze.
Oh no, Gina.
Gina, come back.
Gina, come back. Come back.
Come back, Gina. Gina, return to us.
Gina.
Gina. Gina. The rebels would, according to John, rebels would excavate the base, take all the essential items, and then destroy it once it's fully abandoned. That's possible. Oh, there's Gina.
Mm-hmm.
Gina's back.
Gina.
She was back. She was temporarily back. And now it's just her back instead.
Oh no.
Gina. I say, I wanted to talk about this when Gina was here, but I guess while we're waiting. John has a point that I thought was great too. Boba alluding to how the Empire would recognize him.
Mm-hmm.
I love that line of like, let's just say they'll recognize my face.
I know. I love that.
It was so good.
I laughed at that.
Just so good.
I just love how they he's like, I can't go. And then Fennec's like, I can't go. And then they're like, Cara Dune can't go. And Mando's just like, alright. Is she having internet problems?
It looks like it. She's messaging us. I think she's trying to come back. There she is.
Hello.
Nope. She's back.
We were talking about
Hola.
Boba saying, let's just say they'll recognize my face.
Oh, what a lovely moment.
It was so funny.
What a lovely moment. Call it back to the prequels. I love it.
I love how much they're doing it.
So what was Gina's second thing?
Did we talk about that? We never.
Can't remember.
It was scary. It was scary, Pedro.
Okay, the message he left from Moff Gideon when he was like, he means more to me than you'll ever know. I was like, sir, protective and scary. I love you. And I died a little bit. Some more. I've died like 3 times, I think now.
Scary Mando Daddy.
Yes. Yes. That's my new bio on Twitter, Ray. I'm going to put that in a hot second.
Scary Mando Daddy.
I'll do the Silent Trinity.
Yeah. Silent Trinity. I should just be like, Hayden's back. I'm so excited. Anyway. I had something to say about that, about a scary message at the end.
Because it feels intense.
It was. He was.
So,
like,
how many episodes do we have left?
1.
Just 1, right?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure Johnny Boy himself is directing next week.
Yeah.
All right, it's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll get. So this is my thing because I knew we weren't going to have Din and Grogu reconnect this week because there's just no. It's better to say that for the last episode, but I thought we would at least get like check-ins, like cutaways to what Grogu was up to, and we didn't. So now I think whatever state Grogu is in will be something of a reveal because we haven't seen him. And so I'm just expecting Din to get there and like open up the cell, and then there's chaotic evil Grogu who's just like little Grogu with Sith eyes, like.
Oh man, that.
Like the way I need baby Grogu's Sith yell is that.
That's so funny.
Oh my god.
Hey, Solo Pirate, welcome.
That would be a leap. Sith eyes, but I am not counting it, discounting that. It could happen.
It could happen.
But then it gives me Din having to remind Grogu of who he is, and now I'm emotional, and I want all of it.
Taking the helmet off to bring him back.
what? Seriously, what if he like shows up, opens the pod, and
Yep.
then Grogu's like all evil or chaotic evil,
Yeah.
and then he starts choking him. He just starts choking him. You know?
I
I do the evil Grogu face because that's like ideal.
I was okay. So stream, I have to go soon, but I was on TikTok yesterday, and someone was doing some scene from some film page I was in a long time ago, and what you just described, right, basically happened in this scene, and now I will not continue because this is a family-friendly stream.
It's true.
Yeah. Is it a family friendly stream?
I try to keep it that way.
We try.
Just
This
for
is
I
the
know.
goal.
I have to like. I have to keep myself from swearing. So yeah.
Before we stream, this doesn't happen, but it happens in my head. Before we stream, Jess is always like, Gina, do not sexualize Pedro too much and do not swear. And I just do my best to keep it up.
Well, what I always tell people we have people on is it's like we're not a channel for kids. Like we don't make content for kids. My standard is like if Timmy is watching the stream, I don't want to get Timmy grounded when mom walks in. Like it's not really that like I'm like I don't want this content on my channel, but it's just like I just don't want to get Timmy grounded, and that's
you're being considerate. It's fine.
That's lovely. It just means I have to hold my tongue sometimes.
It's always my rules. Just think of Timmy. Think of Timmy's mom walking into the room at any given point in time, and
yeah,
that's all I ask. But then again, you know, I've streamed the KOTOR games, so there's like, you know, it's not like there's never been profanity.
It's Star Wars profanity.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
We can say Criff, you know?
Griffin.
Yeah.
I used to, because I'm a big fan of the novel Shadowpoint, which had Tusker poop, which I just thought was really funny. And so, like, back in college, if I was really mad, I'd walk around and go, Griffin Karkin Tusker poop!
That's so funny. That is so funny.
What if Timmy should be doing homework instead of watching the stream, though? John, I can't help you. I can't help Timmy.
That sounds like a Timmy.
It's a personal problem.
For Tim. But on that note, because Gina does have to get going, what is... So, like, I feel like all three of us really love the episode. Right?
Yeah.
So, like, is there some kind of, like, final... Like, what do you think this episode just got right? Like, what is it about this where it was like, yes. Gina, I can tell you're ready to go.
This episode gave me the perfect amount of nonverbal and yet verbal acting, of conflicting, of doing the right thing, wanting to honor oneself and sticking to the code, but also realizing that something is super more important, and him taking off the helmet for Grogu and his confliction as he's sitting at that table is everything I could have ever wanted. Ever. Ever.
I agree. How are you feeling, Ray?
Looking back on it, I think for me it's two things. I think I always do this. I'm always like, I can't just choose one. So I think the writing and pace and the directing, like the action of the story, like Rick, phenomenal.
Yep.
The second part, I think, is using the character Mayfeld, like the Mayfeld character, while giving him sort of this growth. It really mirrored what Mando was going through. Yep. And you like saw that growth in Mando, like through Mayfield, like the layers of it, phenomenal. And to get all of it done in a half hour ish, I'm always impressed how they get all this storytelling done in 30 to 45 minutes.
So good. I think for me, it just really captured like the perfect tone for the show, and I think this is something Rick has done really well in his other 2 episodes also, where he has this ability to make an episode feel like it's in the Star Wars universe. Like when I watch it, I just intrinsically know I'm watching Star Wars, but it still feels different. It's kind of like that Rogue One effect, where it's like I don't feel like I'm watching the happy-go-lucky adventure. I still feel like I'm on an adventure, and I still feel good more than bad. But like, it's not the A New Hope feel. It's not the like, hey, you know, it's just the we're here in the nitty-gritty in the universe, but it still feels like it's in the universe. I think he juggles that really well.
Yeah, it's not like the campy space adventure of A New Hope, but it's also not the complete and utter tragedy of Revenge of the Sith.
Right, exactly.
It's that really balanced middle ground.
Yes.
Solo Pirate says, what a way to turn around feelings for a character. Mayfeld's good in my book. Yeah, I didn't like Mayfeld at all last season. I really liked it.
It was different. Yeah.
But yeah, I know you got to get running, Gina. So we'll
I was gonna say, should we do like predictions for the finale, like what we think's gonna happen?
We can, yeah. Gina, why don't you go first in case you have to jump off?
I will go first, thank you, because then I will jump off. And then I will rewatch to see all your predictions. I predict that, oh my goodness, does he still have the Beskar stabby thingy? Oh my goodness, we're fighting Gideon. And I also predict...
Sorry.
You're fine.
It's beautiful.
I also predict a little feral Grogu because he's been going through some things. I expect that's going to tear up Jess. And then I also predict not ending on a completely happy moment.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you all.
Yes. Catch you later, Gina.
Bye, Gina.
Bye. And I will resize this to better fit the 2 of us. But yes. So what are your predictions?
Okay. I think they're gonna get to Gideon's ship. I think there might be a fight between him and Gideon. Like Gina said. I think that the cliffhanger is actually gonna be Din finding Grogu and something being wrong.
Yeah.
Whether that's him being Sithy or if it's, you know,
he goes like full PETA.
You know, right.
It's a really weird reference. Thanks.
No, I got it. But yeah. And I usually am not one for like making like really big predictions.
Yeah.
So that's like my vague, you know, prediction for next week.
I
think there will be a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially because last season didn't have one. I think they'll give us something. I think we'll have a fight with Gideon, but it won't be a final showdown. I think that'll go to Bo. No. And I don't know that they're going to bring her back already. Maybe they will, but I
don't think so.
I don't think they're going to go that way yet. So I think there'll be some fight with him. And at first I kind of wondered if in the end whoever was on the other end of Grogu's call would show up to help. But I think it's also possible that Grogu could be a little messed up, and then they really need that Jedi, and the Jedi could be the start of season 3. It's because like a couple of weeks ago I would have told you that season 3 will be the Jedi, but like they've just fit so much in. I'm like, maybe the Jedi could show up and you could do all of this. Because I think they could literally start off next week with arriving on Gideon's ship. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah. I agree.
I mean, or the...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, or the cliffhanger could be the Jedi showing up, but we don't know who it is.
That's a good one. I think... I know we just had Din taking his mask off, but I think that we will get Din having to take his mask off for Grogu next episode. I don't think that's a thing they're going to push off to the next season. I think in some way, whether it's to pull Grogu back, whether it's something, and I'm not sure he'll even, because I was going to ask this when Gino was still here, but I think this is a question we may not get an answer in the season, but like with him taking his mask off in the episode, is it a compromise and a sacrifice, and he now is going to feel less until he works through that? Or is it, I don't think he's decided that he doesn't follow the way anymore. You know what I mean?
No, because, when Mayfeld shoots the guy or whatever, and he's like, I never saw your face. He's like, okay. And he, like, kind of, like, is nervous and anxious, and he puts
How good was that
the
moment,
stormtrooper
by the
helmet
way?
back on.
When he shoots the guy, and the stormtrooper's just there and drops his tray.
Oh, like, unbelievable. How did this happen? Yeah. I love that. I was kind of like, okay. So, and even Din was like, I'm like, I forgot. I love the part where Mayfeld's talking to the guy and, like, egging him on and, like, kind of doing stuff. And you just see Din, like, look at him and go, what are you doing?
Don't do that.
So.
John says his prediction, Din will have to sing a lullaby to Grogu to calm Grogu down after fighting a battle with Gideon. Could be. Maybe. But yeah, I think it's so hard to predict because they've put so much in an episode before.
Oh, yeah.
Where it really could go any number of ways. I could see the Jedi showing up, and I could see them having to go back to Tython to find the Jedi waiting for them, and, like, either one would be equally likely.
Right.
I don't think Gideon is done at the end. I think there's a conflict, but I don't think Gideon is done at the end of the season.
They're not gonna waste him. They're not gonna waste that actor.
No, especially not without Bo.
I would say, right. I would say, he's, like, solidly that character is gonna be in season 3 yet, and I think after that it's gonna be done.
I would agree. But yeah,
I don't think Bo.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't think any of the other Mandalorians come back until next season.
Yeah.
And I think we have to have Din wrestle with the whole taking his helmet off thing.
Yeah.
For at least a few episodes in season 3 until they or other Mandalorians show back up.
And talk to him about it. I think that's true. How are you feeling about Boba Fett and Finnick and what they're gonna do? Because some people have been predicting Boba will die so that Din gets the Razor Crest. Some people, I'm still like, I don't fully trust him. Like, the whole a Jedi killed his father thing and Grogu is a Jedi thing just has my parent senses nervous.
Heightened. I mean, we know they're not series regulars, so I guess depending on what happens next week, if they kill Boba, that's kind of a waste.
Yeah, to pull him back just to kill him too.
So to pull it back like that, so I think that, bar none, if they're successful in what they help Mando get Grogu back, I think they're just kind of like these characters that could return at some point.
Right.
Maybe. We'll see, though. I think Mando does is, for the Razor Crest, I think he could potentially find another one and just, like, build it back up to what he wants.
Yeah.
I think that's more plausible than him getting Slave 2, but
agree.
Anything can happen. We've known that before. I never thought Boba would be in this to begin with.
Yeah.
So.
John says, I always felt Boba was more mad at Mace specifically than Jedi in general, only targeting Jedi because he didn't get Mace, and then the Sarlacc pit has changed him. I will agree on the Mace bit. I don't know that... I think it remains to be seen if the Sarlacc changed him.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, that's just a second Jedi that has caused him grief.
Canon. Sarlacc pits are actually Jedi.
Boom, boom. Because, I just mean because he fought Luke too, but I mean, can you imagine put that in the High Republic, a Sarlacc Jedi? Like,
Sarlacc pit's actually a Jedi?
Yeah.
It's sentient enough to do that?
Let's tweet Cabin after the stream. Cabin. Sarlacc pit Jedi. Go. And then he never talked to me again.
He's nice enough not to do that. Come on.
he would
Kevin.
he would probably
Kevin
be more like,
Scott.
"Oh, stop tweeting me good ideas, then I can't use them." That'd probably be what he would say.
Right. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, so I know
No,
Han is the one
solid
who
episode
did
this
did
week,
but he did fight Luke. Luke force kicked him. You know, solid.
yeah, and then he died a really didn't die, but almost died a not very heroic death.
Right. I think
he just got eaten.
At some level, this episode eased my distrust for Boba and Fennec just because they were getting along with the group so well. But like, if Boba also has issues with the Imperials, which he kind of seemed to have last week anyway, like, you know, enemy of my enemy is my friend thing. I don't know. Like, it could be as simple as like, hey, we're bros, and we helped you out, and like that's fine. But there's still a part of me that's like,
I mean,
it just seems real.
You're very protective of Grogu. I get it.
I'm very protective of Grogu.
But I mean, the idea that Boba has, you know, bar whatever happened to him, you know, if he got eaten by a Sarlacc and got spit out, and like, you know, he was on Tatooine. Did he hang out with the Tusken? Like, you know, we don't know what happened. So he could have had a change of heart, or like is more like loyal now and is not so, you know, backstabby when it comes to being a bounty hunter when he was, you know.
Yeah.
There's so many different plausible scenarios that we just don't know.
Yeah.
So
we'll see how
yeah. You're right to be a little wary. It's your child.
I'm a little suspicious. I'm just a little I tweeted the other day, IG-11 blew himself up and I'm still not sure I trust him. And a lot of people were like, what? I'm like,
Look. Just because he blew himself up to save them does not mean he can be trusted.
Right. Clearly. It could be a ruse. A clever ruse.
A ruse. Oh, Jess. You always make it interesting.
You know, I'm just saying. Things happen in Star Wars. But, yep. As far as next stream for this, we don't know if it'll be. I don't think it'll be Friday next week because life is life. But keep an eye out on the Discord and Twitter. Try to let you guys know. Ray, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
These are always fun.
Thanks to Gina, even though she's not here anymore.
Gina, come back.
Come back.
Gina, come back.
Anyway.
Talk to you all later. Bye.